Hey AfterBuzzers, we're here talking about Supernatural Season 11, Episode 21, All in the Family. Some crazy things have happened, and I can't wait to talk about it. See you after the intro. Okay. Woo! Okay. Hey AfterBuzzers, you're here for Supernatural here on AfterBuzz TV. We are talking about Season 11, Episode 21, All in the Family. See you after the intro.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Oh, the beautiful music is back. It is moving and beautiful. Oh, I'm so happy to be back here on AfterBuzz TV's Supernatural After Show. Hi guys, I brought the boys back. I brought the Impala back. We're talking about All in the Family, but I'm not here alone. Of course, if you don't know who I am, I'm Alexis Torres. You can find me where all shenanigans will ensue at Torres890. But again, I am not alone because I have a very beautiful voice of God up in the sky. Her name is Lyndsey Wegner. Hey, lady.
Hey, guys. Hi, Alexis.
Hi.
I'm so glad that I can actually be talking to you about the show, even if I can't be there.
I know.
Because I'm in Wisconsin, but I'm glad to talk with you about it since it was so good this week.
Oh my gosh. So for people who have been watching the show, obviously I haven't been here in a while, but I've still been keeping up. But holy cannoli, this episode was crazy. The episode is called All in the Family, which we definitely saw a lot of people in the family this episode. Lyndsey, go ahead and tell me just like a quick review for you. What did you think of this episode?
I thought the episode was amazing. I think that Dean really getting into a conversation with Chuck, a.k.a. God, and having a real conversation with him was probably what I was most interested to see since I am religious and kind of hearing where has God been all these years. Mm-hmm. So I like, even if it's, made up or whatever it is, I loved hearing that. And of course, I love the return of Amara and
so good.
Cassifer and finding out what's going on and all the things. So what did you think?
This episode was absolutely bonkers. The Catholic / Christian in me, because the fact that I have my family is Catholic, but my boyfriend and I are Christian, so there's that whole thing. But just it was hard to watch a little bit, seeing Chuck / God I guess I liked it because of the fact that he's just so easygoing kind of thing, and there's a lot of favorite lines that I'll bring up later. But this episode just really brought up a lot of stuff. I was telling Lyndsey earlier that there was a lot of crying and laughter and anger and happiness all happening all in this giant ball of emotion that I was in, and it was just great. I thought this, I can't even believe that we're going to be having the finale next week or 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks. It's crazy. The fact that we're having Battle Royale in the next 2 episodes is just... But we should probably get into this episode. So, obviously, we leave off where we left off from the last episode, which was also very good. I think it was my favorite one so far of the season was Chuck obviously shows up and Dean and Sam were just like, what's happening? I love that their faces are just like, what? And then when he teleports them back into... I call it the hold, but I can't remember what it's actually called off the top of my head.
The bunker.
Thank you. They're just like, oh, holy crap. And they realize that obviously Chuck is God, and it's just that's when clearly all of the greatest lines, I think, from here on out was just really good. What did you think?
I loved that. I loved it. Obviously, we talked about it. I love the appearance of Kevin.
Mm-hmm. Yes. It was nice seeing him.
And God, I'm assuming he's sending him to heaven?
That's what I was assuming. At first, I thought, not to get too far into the episode, I thought that maybe Kevin's, not prophecy, but becoming a prophet, that light went into Donatello, but I don't think that's the same thing. So, yeah, so I think that it was like, hey, Kevin, thank you for doing, what you were sent out to do. You've been here long enough. Let's have your soul go to rest. And it, did that awesome levitation. That's when Dean said, holy crap, and it was beautiful.
Yeah. Yep, I wrote down holy crap, too.
Yeah, because that's how I felt. I mean, we knew about this already, but if you came up to this guy with this beautiful face and a great beard, you're like, what? What? And I love how after the opening, pretty much we have Chuck, Sam, and Dean sitting in a room, and it's just kind of silent. And Sam's just like, I have so many questions, and I want to talk about all these things. And Chuck's just kind of like, yeah, sure. And Dean, this scene made me cry because I wasn't ready for a Jensen Ackles tear fest. That I was not ready for that. Was him, which a lot of people, especially if you believe in God, or actually some people who don't believe in God have always said that they're like, why, all these years that you haven't been here, there's been war, famine, just the fact that people are always saying, if there's a God up there, why is there so much destruction here on the world that he created? And it just brought up a lot of things. And I also agree with Chuck with the fact of just talking about how it's like you can't be an overbearing parent. At one point in time, I was taking the reins, and now I feel like it's your turn to learn, and the world has gotten a little better from what it was before, and I agree. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how did you feel about that scene, Lyndsey?
I mean, like you said, it's tough to watch. It's hard to see Dean be the one showing emotion. I love Sam, his babbling, as Dean calls it, but you're babbling.
I love that.
Because he just kept going on, because you want to hear, what happened, with the plagues and wars and slaughters? Where were you? And, Chuck's description of why he felt like he was enabling, and he felt like he needed to step away. I mean, we know deep down that God never steps away from us. He's always with us.
Yeah.
And he does need to let us, hopefully we learn from our mistakes. And as a country and world, we try to unite and do things. And I think we are growing and we are learning. And there's still a lot of bad in the world. Yeah. But all that we can hope for at the end of the day is that people are learning and want to be better. And I think that's kind of how he's leaving it. He's like, I've got to let you learn too. I'm not going to walk away. I will step in when needed, but you guys have to do this and take care of what I did create.
No, I completely agree. I'm pretty much going to try to group all of the Dean, Chuck, and Sam kind of moments together before we jump into Amara, since there's a lot of back and forth happening in the episode. So obviously, I guess we go to the next morning. Dean pretty much is just wondering where Chuck is as they're talking about their plan, pretty much to try to find Amara. And he admits that there was a quick scene of Amara showing up at the bunker and talking about how she wants to see him at one point, and also shows Cass, or Castifer, and how he looks like crap. And pretty much they're talking, and he's like, so where's Chuck? Sleeping in? Does God sleep? And I love how we, as an audience, are thinking, yeah, does he? Well, I guess he's in a vessel, so he probably has to sleep. And of course, I love, again, one of my favorite lines of it was, apparently God was taking very long showers, and he was talking about, he's like, yeah, and singing old folk music or tunes or whatever. And I told him to cool it. And Sam goes, you told God to cool it? Yeah, I sleep. And I thought it was great. And I love that Chuck just shows up with Voodoo Donuts, which, if you don't know what that is, I think that's in Portland, Oregon, but I think there's a few other places that you can get it. But I know that you can go to Voodoo Donuts in Portland, Oregon, and they have the best, craziest donuts that you can ever get. So
yeah,
that was really cool.
They're pretty amazing.
But I love how Sam was also fanboying out, because he's like, I have so many questions, like the planets, why are they round, and ears, they're so weird. And that whole scene was really, really great. And that's what I was talking about, was that there's a lot of comedy, but also in a very serious episode. And we cut to the fact of them just trying to figure out their plan. And I love that we also get Metatron, I guess, at a bar, and he sees that Sam and Dean got to meet Chuck, and he calls them immediately and been like, well, go ahead and tell me what you thought of just Metatron being back in. I mean, he was in the last episode, but how did you feel about his whole character, at least in the episode, Lyndsey?
At the beginning of the episode, I didn't really know quite what to think, how he was going to help the boys, if he was going to be honest or not. So when he kind of told them that he had something to tell them, and they had to show up there, I was wondering what he was going to say. I mean, he's read the the book. He's the only one who has.
Yeah.
So he obviously needed to share that information with the boys. And what I thought was interesting earlier was when Dean asked Chuck if he knew that Amara had Lucifer, Chuck said Lucifer was his greatest hope and bitterest moment. And since the boys sprung him from the cage, even if that was unplanned, he's like, I'm not going to worry about helping him. Thus spake the Lord. And so here we are, where we're getting deeper into this. Chuck is now potentially going to sacrifice himself, and it's basically a suicide note.
But it makes so much sense, because the fact that God's like, I'm going to make an autobiography of his life in the last episode, I was thinking, that's strange. Why are you doing that now? And then I started to think more about it. I was like, oh, especially when, of course, we got that ending song, which that actor, I can't remember his name, who plays Chuck, did so phenomenally well. The fact that he was singing about farewells. So in my brain, I was going, oh, he's going to die and or do something that either hurts God or something. But we just don't know the full extent. But now that Metatron had them come to a bar and gave Sam and Dean margaritas, which we all know that Dean won't drink that, and explains that this is his autobiography is his suicide note. And it was just, that was the realest as like it can get for me. And I was just like, whoa, this episode is crazy. This whole season is crazy. And so I don't know. I think it's a really cool twist, personally. But we also get to meet someone new in this episode as well. Is we get to see Donatello. Obviously it was in Lewis, Oklahoma, I believe. And the fog starts rolling in. Sadly enough, we lost thousands of people. Like, everyone in the town died, or the city. And
the zombies were back.
Yeah, right? That was crazy. I was like, what's happening? But we had one survivor, which was Donatello, who got struck by lightning. But we find out that, is it weird that I wanted a Harry Potter moment where he had like a lightning scar in his forehead? But we find out that he it didn't hurt. It was full of knowledge and clarity. And I was like, oh, we have a new prophet named Donatello. And I think that's great. Do you like our new prophet? He was kind of all over the place.
I think it's a really, really great idea, especially since what happens later in the episode. I think it's a nice little twist.
Yeah.
I was excited to see him and see his reaction to everything as well. I thought that was really, really awesome.
Yeah, and it was very real too, because it's just like, I don't know what's happening, but I'm gonna go along for the ride because I feel things.
I'm an atheist, but I guess I should believe.
I feel like that's like the ultimate just like smack in the face, like, hey, you're an atheist, guess what, you're now a prophet of God.
Yep.
Cool with that?
Great.
Guns. Oh God, I thought it was so funny. I was just like, yes. But we also again, Amara shows up again after they go in to interrogate Donatello, and Amara says, I want to see you, I miss you, I want to see you, just the two of us, I want to meet alone, pretty much. And of course,
dun dun dun,
yeah. And in my brain, I was sitting there going, so I can't tell if Amara just wants to see him just to see him, or that she's going to trick him into a trap.
That's what I was nervous about. I was like, is this a trap that we're not seeing just yet?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, and I was like, I don't like this. Don't go, Dean, don't go. But I like how they use the meeting later on in the episode. So we get back to the bunker with our new prophet, and I don't particularly know what Chuck was looking at. It looked like that weird game that they play on the ice where it's like shuffleboard but for ice. I can't remember what it's called. But he was watching video of that, which I thought was weird. But Dean goes, "Is that my laptop?" You know, I've never seen so much porn in one sitting, and I'm just like, why, God? Why is this happening? I don't understand. I also wanted to point out that Chuck's version of God is really awesome, because it just shows, I mean, I don't know how certain people feel, but I love, like, again, in the last episode where he's like, I traveled, I dated some girls, dated some guys, and now he's talking about porn. Like, yeah, it's just, I love how he's very easygoing. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I don't know. I thought it was, I like that he's just this easygoing, funny person. So
it reminds me a little bit of Castiel.
Yeah.
And how, you know how Cass just says certain things sometimes and you're just like, oh, Cass.
Yeah.
You know, like you had to learn.
Yeah.
And then, you know, there's moments where I'm like, oh, geez, he's just so naive.
Yeah.
And not that God's naive.
No.
But that he's just brutally honest.
Just so, but it makes sense.
But not in like a rude way.
No. I love how he's in his boxers eating Chinese food takeout, and then he's like, "Cool, welcome to the team. How do you feel?" Like, I feel great. Oh my God, I'm talking to God. You know I'm an atheist, right? Is that okay? Yeah, sure. I mean, there's gonna be skepticism. I get that.
I created free will.
Yeah, and I love that he was just, again, so easygoing that he just was like, "Yeah, I don't care if you're an atheist. Whatever. Help me out. Welcome to the team." So I'm trying to get through this. We find out that after obviously we had the scene with Metatron explaining what God wanted to do, and we get the next scene after that with Dean finds Chuck in the park, and he's watching kids play, and it was a very emotional, kind of touching scene of how he's like, you know, pretty much talking about that he's not going to die. He's going to be caged. He's going to take, you know, he's going to take one for the team, pretty much. And it was kind of interesting to listen to him talk about that, you know? Like, what do you think of his plan, Lyndsey? Do you think this is a good thing or no?
I mean, if you go back once again to the religious aspect of it and the fact that God gave his only son up to the world to be sacrificed.
True, yeah.
This is just something that you would expect God to do.
Yeah.
To sacrifice himself for the good of mankind. But what worries me is Dean saying, we don't know if Amara's going to stop.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Yeah, and we don't. We really don't. Even though you might go through all these great lengths to get her to stop, because the fact that it's supposed to be kind of like a, not switch and bait, but like pretty much he's like, okay, you got me. I'm going to turn myself in if you stop. And I'm like, but really? Well, she really just wants to ruin your life. You know? So.
Exactly. She just wants revenge. She wants vengeance for all those years of being locked away.
Yeah.
I mean, and do you really blame her?
No, I don't. I totally understand it. Like, if my brother locked me away for years and eons and whatever, I would be very upset. So I get it. I totally get it. I just think it's very interesting that you can really see the sibling rivalry between the two of them, especially since the last episode of like, she can't take my world, this is my world kind of thing, you know, and the fact that she's literally had a whole season of just her talking about that he can't have this anymore. Like, he can't have this world. I'm taking it. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is crazy. But I like that we find out that Dean is the firewall between light and dark. That was awesome. That was so, which makes sense. I feel like we all knew that. No? Just me? Yeah. I was like, we know that you're kind of the weird gatekeeper between the light and the dark. It just makes sense.
No, it's brilliant.
Yeah. I mean, I do feel bad because I thought that's how Sam and Dean were, like as a pair, like they were the firewall, like both of them, like because Sam was light or vice versa or whatever. But I'm fine with Dean being it. That's totally cool. I don't know how you guys felt about it, but I thought that was awesome. We find out that Metatron obviously wants to be a part of the team. He wants to save his best friend, because we're back in the bunker with Metatron, Donatello, Sam, and Dean. And I love how we've had 2 beer snafus in the past 2 episodes. I don't know if you noticed this, but when Metatron was trying to get the beer from the draft, it was all foam. And then in the next shot, it was all beer. And then in this one, if you look closely, Donatello has the beer and he's like, I don't know if you drink. And he's like, I do now. He does that, and the foam comes all the way up to the top of the top of the beer bottle, and you can see him trying to like get rid of that so that you can't see it in the shot. And then after that, you see that it's half down.
I missed that.
You have to look. I mean, the camera's panning, and then Dean sits down, but you'll see him kind of trying to take off the foam off the top of the bottle. And I was like, what's happening with the beer snafus today? I don't understand. So that's how I knew that it was probably a real beer there, because I was like, wait a minute. Because, you know, like if you chuck a bottle back, if you do it too quickly, the foam comes. Yeah, you know this, Lyndsey. I know you work at a bar. But like, but anyway, so it was interesting to see Metatron being such a good guy. He's like, God chose me to do all this stuff, and I, you know, if I can save him and his creations, I will do anything. So at first I was kind of like, all right, buddy, what do you actually want though? Because I'm so skeptical of him. But we really saw a good side of Metatron in this episode, and sadly enough,
he was selfless.
Yeah,
this episode,
which was crazy.
We don't normally see.
Not even. That's why I'm like, no. But really, what do you want? I feel like there's more to the story, but there wasn't. He clearly just wanted to help out his friend, and that was crazy.
I don't know. I don't know if there's a return for him at all. I feel like that could be possible.
Yeah, I mean,
where did Amara just? You know, we'll get to that, but
yeah. Oh no, we'll get to that. We're getting pretty close. So Dean tells him the plan, which I wrote down here. The plan is rescue Lucifer from Amara. Lucifer teleports everyone out of her hideout. They convince Chuck to use Lucifer to fight Amara in the end. That's their plan. And in my brain, I was going, is that gonna work? We know Winchester, bad luck. Most of their plans usually work out, but the big plans usually don't. There's always some weird snafu, and then they have to think of a plan B. So, what did you think of this plan? Did you think it was gonna work?
I mean,
yep.
Exactly. That's the thought that I have. I'm like, well, it's a good idea.
It was a good idea, but I don't know. When he said it out loud, I was with Metatron. I was just like, that's your plan? That's it? But it's typical Dean fashion to go running and gunning into something and just hope for the best. But I don't know. I wasn't convinced. But so they use Amara and Dean's meeting as a distraction, which I did think was really smart. And Sam, Metatron, and Don were gonna go find the hideout by using Donatello, I guess, vibes to find her, or at least find the hideout and to find Lucifer. So we find out, at least with Dean and Amara, that she's not there to trap him. She was just there to pretty much convey her feelings for Dean, kind of.
Yeah, I guess that's what she was just basically, telling him how she felt about him and what she. I mean, hold on, let me pull this up in my notes.
Yeah, she said something about like sensual arousal or something like that, and then she also wanted him to be a part of her in some way, shape, and form. Yeah. She
says she misses the sensations that arouse in her and knows that he feels the same way. Now, this comes back to the fact that we don't know, is this the sensations? Are these like
is this
passion, loving, sexual sensations?
Yeah.
Because we see the chemistry between them.
Clearly.
Or is it just this want for him to be inside of her? Very differently, sorry.
Yeah, I was like, different kind of pun intended.
as part of her.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you.
It's boundless within her, which sounds so scary.
Oh, I don't even want to think about that. Like, it just seems
and his drones
crazy.
Work.
Yeah, I think that's where that weird bond, because he let her out, that there's just this weird connection it might feel sexual maybe to a point, because it's maybe just us watching and how they word it, but I feel like there's literally such a strong electric bond between the two of them that it probably feels that way. But I can't tell. I totally agree with you, Lyndsey, where I can't tell if it's actually something that she's like, I want to be with you and you part of me also. Like, it's weird because it looks like she does deeply care for him, but at the same time I don't know if that's because she needs to use him in order to get to the end result of what she needs.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I'm actually interested, fans, for you guys to let us know. I know that we're not live streaming today, which we apologize, but definitely put it down in the comments below. Also, definitely go to iTunes, find Supernatural here on AfterBuzz TV, and give us a 5-star rating, 4-star rating, anything like that. Leave us a comment, let us know. Definitely tweet us as well, which we'll throw our Twitter handles at the very end of the show. But we love to hear what you guys think, especially now that we're in those last 2 episodes. So I want to know what you guys are thinking. And
with all this, all this craziness that's coming up, which you expect coming in the last few episodes. I wish they could bring it to us sooner.
Yeah, I completely agree. Completely agree with you. But so obviously at this time, Sam, Don, and I keep calling him Don, but Donatello and Metatron get to the hideout, and poor Cassifer he's just not doing well. I just feel so bad for him.
He's struggling.
He's been struggling since like day one of this season. Maybe just the whole time, but like this season in particular, maybe last season, but I don't know. But like his character is always getting the crappy end of the stick, especially this season. I feel really bad for him. But so I love Metatron's reaction to seeing him pretty much being just cut up and bruised and, you know, gone through this torture that he's been going through, and that he's unrecognizable to a point. And he lets him down. He says a prayer, or a spell to get him off of the contraption that he's in, and he falls straight to the ground. And Sam's like, "Okay, teleport us out." "I can't do that." "What do you mean?" "I'm officially grounded." And this is where it all goes to crap when it comes to Winchester plans. Was right then and there. And then Amara can already feel, I mean, I thought she was feeling him being released, but apparently she just noticed that his thoughts were different. And which is crazy.
Yeah, that's what I was questioning too, because I'm like, does she know that he's using her? Like, how couldn't she pick that up right away?
That's what I'm thinking, that Dean is her kryptonite. So she's not really thinking straight and not in her full potential, because she's distracted with the fact of all of this stuff that's happening to her and her body when she's around Dean, which most women will probably agree with. So,
agree.
Right. So I find that very interesting that she's like, "Your thoughts, why can't I read them?" And I was like, oh boy, this is going to be bad. And she's just like, "You've met," like, I love how she's like, "You've met him." And she just immediately goes back to her hideout, and Sam pretty much tries to help Cassifer out of the hideout with Donatello, and Metatron stays. This is where I was kind of like, okay, what's he up to? But no, he actually sacrificed himself to save Lucifer, Sam, and all of humanity as much as he could. I don't know the spell that he used, though. I don't know if you caught that or anything. I had no idea, because usually it looks like the usual angel spell to get them out of a room, but I don't think that would work on her, so I didn't know specifically what it was. So fans, let me know, tweet it to me or tweet it to us, or put it in the comment section, because I had no idea what it was.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it sent the bright light, but it wasn't going to get rid of her.
It didn't work.
There's no spell that's going to be powerful enough against her. I mean, they tried using the hand of God, and that,
oh boy, every time. I know I wasn't here for those episodes, but the hand of God stuff, I'm just like, I don't even know what, like, I understand that we needed something, but I felt like those were never going to work.
Oh, I thought they were so brilliant. I loved the idea behind it.
I did. I totally agree with you on that. I thought that what it was used for was fantastic. I especially love the jumping back in time for the first piece of the hand of God. And so I was just like, really want this to work, but I know it's not going to work. So I don't know what Metatron used, but sadly enough, we see him being crumbled and being enveloped in some sort of darkness, and then he just vanishes. So I don't really know. Do you think he's actually dead, or do you think that he might come back, Lyndsey?
I don't know. I never think anyone's dead in Supernatural anymore. It's hard to think that anyone could be dead.
Yeah.
But he's gone for now.
Yeah.
For sure. We may get him back later. He may somehow be released if they are able to kill her. That's what I can kind of try and think is possible.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm going to be, not to be punny here, but I'm going to play devil's advocate and say that he's completely gone. And maybe he might show up at the very, very end, but I don't think that he's going to be playing a major role. I mean, I could be wrong. I certainly don't think he's going to be playing a major role anymore. No, for sure. That's it. Yeah. I think we'll probably see where he ended up, but I don't think he can help out. Yeah. But pretty much that's where the episode ends is when Sam tries to drive, and that camera in the car was crazy. And
so awesome. It felt
so
like you
cool.
were there. I loved it. Sorry, I got really excited about that.
No, I thought it was great. I was just like, whoa, we are in the car with them. This is bonkers. I love it. And Amara shows up in the very I was like, run her over. Why did you stop? Oh, so mad. But that's me, because I'm a crazy person. But so so Sam hits the brakes and he tries to reverse, and of course she uses her powers to hold the car there, and we're thinking, oh, something's gonna happen, it's gonna be really bad. And then all of a sudden the car just ends up back in the bunker, and they're like,
but I love her words before she
oh yeah,
does.
what did she say?
You know,
I think I wrote it down somewhere.
She calls Metatron the secretary, right?
Yes, which I love that.
But then she goes, you really aren't worth sparing, none of you.
Yeah.
So everyone. And so part of me was wondering, is she going to kill Sam right now? And that's how she's going to get to Dean, and therefore then Dean can become one with her and save creation? Or what? But that's what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah, because I thought when she was had her hand on his face and was like, "What keeps you? What keeps you from being your full, potential or whatever?" And excuse me. And I thought she was going to go, "It's your brother," and then that we'd have that whole Sam dynamic. Yeah. I definitely thought that was going to be the thing. But obviously, we end up back in the bunker. We find out God has, it looks like a six-pack, and is just like, okay. And that's where we ended off. And well, we ended off with Donatello going back home, and I definitely know he's going to play in a different role later on in the season, or maybe we won't see him until next season. I have no idea. But pretty much he's just like, well, can't go back to being an atheist, so I guess I will just learn what I can. And he just leaves to go back to Oklahoma.
And Chuck saying that occasionally he answers prayers.
Yeah, I was just like, all right, Chuck, we get it. You're God. I got that.
I love that.
So that was the end of our episode. Let's get into quick predictions, because I know we have to get out of here.
AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Thank you, Mr. Zach in the booth. Lyndsey, I'll let you go first. Obviously, we were talking about, obviously, we got Big Battle Royale, God versus the Darkness, Lord help, literally all I said was Lord help us all, pun intended.
So basically, we just saw Metatron save Sam, Lucifer, and Casper, and Donatello. So he's already saved him. He was a part of the plan. Next person we have to add to the plan, Crowley. Yep. So he's on board. We've got, hopefully Casper is going to be on board. The next step, then, I think we're going to have Rowena on board as well.
Yeah.
So we've got everybody in the playing space to figure out who's going to win, and hopefully we can defeat Amara.
I hope so. I'm hoping that we finally, this is it. We're gonna put an end to it. I'm hoping nobody dies, but I mean, I guess we'll find out, because at this point, I don't know. Anything can go. I know the boys are not gonna die, but I'm worried. I love that Crowley's back in his chair, ready to go. He was all set up and everything. And he's like, what's the plan? So I'm really, we all predicted this in the beginning, that there was going to be a giant everyone versus the darkness, and I think that's exactly what's going to end up happening.
Absolutely.
Well, guys, we want to know what you guys think, especially since the finale's coming up really quick. I want to thank Lyndsey for letting me come back on for today, and I can't wait to see what you guys think for the next 2 episodes. I will definitely be in the chat watching. Lyndsey, where can the awesome people of Supernatural find you?
Thank you guys so much for joining Alexis today, and she just rocked it for me, so thank you, Alexis. You guys can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Lyndsey Wegner. That's LYNDSEYWEGNER, or my blog, lyndseyWegner.blogspot.com. I'll see you guys all next week. I'll be back next week.
Awesome. Thanks, guys, so much for hanging out with us. We're apologizing for all the technical difficulties, but I still want to hear what you guys think. You can find me all over social media, and we're all in it. Shenanigans will ensue at Torres890. Guys, have a wonderful rest of your week, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.